There's nothing worse than being between the end of the day and a networking session. So you heard a lot about AI, you heard a lot about marketing, you heard a lot about strategies and things like that. So I'm going to shake this up a little bit. I asked all of our clients to give me some feedback and information on how to make sure that you are awesome marketers. And so hopefully this works. Technology. But anyways, the first thing I want to just say is this is what we think of when we're doing marketing. We want to not only imagine what's in the realm of possibility, but we want to explore it. And we want to explore it deeply. We want to get those insights that you're all hearing about today, and then we want to try to find a way to transform it. Technology is never your friend. And I hate PowerPoint, by the way. Death by PowerPoint. If you are involved in storytelling, you shouldn't have to rely on PowerPoint. So anyway, am I going to get my thing back? Probably not. That's okay. That's why you always have to improvise. Oops, that doesn't work. We've got to make sure that Rutgers gets some additional funding. So I think this is a ploy to just get me to help support what you're doing. Anyways, are we good with the PowerPoint? Okay, of course not. So anyways, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to focus on some of the things that are important to all of you. And what I love about Rutgers and the School of Business here is you have 4 key R's. And these R's, do you know what they are? You got to be resilient. Responsible, resourceful. What else? You got to be reinventing. You got to reinvent yourselves. You got to reinvent the way you look at business. But I want to add 2 more R's to that. You also have to re-energize. You also refocus. And those are some things that we need to do as marketers moving forward. Why don't you go ahead and play that? I hope you liked that. It was a little bit off time. Anyways, I hope this works. But the theme today, in addition to the 4 R's that you heard about, and the additional R's that you might want to add along the way, is good marketers always add on to the narrative. So we're going to talk a little bit about storytelling, but storytelling kind of is passé. But what's important about storytelling now is that you each have a unique story. And those unique stories intersect with every single person in this room, including all the speakers. But now I want to get you to move away from storytelling to story living and then story doing. So hopefully this works. Okay, so anyway, some of our services. So when you're thinking about your careers, think about ad agencies. You heard from a very big ad agency, Dentsu. We're part of the Interpublic group of companies. So they own a minority interest in our company. And part of the reason why they own a minority interest in our company is because they don't want to suck the entrepreneurship out of me. And one thing about Gen Zs and younger millennials, 62% of you want to own your own business one day. And so I want to inspire you to do that. But before we do that, boring stuff, these are some things that you might be able to find a way in. So earlier you heard from Andrea, and she said that one of her chief audiences is the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer. Absolutely. But I want everyone in this room to know that there are multiple ways to get into an agency or to an organization, and I want you to understand that those doors are open to you. Anyway, moving on. These are some of our clients. If you saw the BTS campaign by McDonald's, that was our campaign. If you saw Pachinko roll out on Apple TV, that was us. We've been working with these companies for many, many years, and they provided a lot of the feedback and content for this presentation. Moving forward. One thing that is really important, that if you're going to be involved, and I think Andrea touched on this, that you need to make an impact in the communities. Gen Z cares about this. You want to make an impact not only in your communities, but in your work and among your peers and among the communities that you support. So these are just some examples of some of the things that we've done. We've started 6 national groups, and one of them is the National Millennial and Gen Z Community, of which Rutgers is a member. And we have a few people from that group here. We also serve on a variety of boards, and part of the reason we're involved in the community is it keeps us relevant. So if you're not involved in an internship, if you're not involved in a nonprofit, if you're not involved in a business program here at the university, take advantage of that. Because one key thing that is important for all of you is you need to build brand equity. Every single one of you in this room is a brand. And equity is something that you build over time by attending classes, going to the summit, talking to one another, reaching out to all the different people that are part of this university community. By the way, how many of you are international students? Good group of people to get in touch with, because when you're thinking about globalization, you want to get their stories and get them engaged in what you're doing. So one thing that the companies and clients and some of the students have told me that they want to learn how to do is pivot and swerve. As you heard from a number of speakers today, things are moving at record pace. Things that may be relevant today may be irrelevant tomorrow. So it's very important for you to be on top of things like AI. AI has been a part of our life for more than 10 years, but you want to stay on top of all the tools that exist and be ready to pivot and swerve. So, moving on. What's the best way to get from point A to point B? Straight line. Why? Short. You're learning this in business school, especially if you're involved in supply chain, right? So what if it's the shortest distance to get from point A to point B? What do you save? Money. You save time. What else? Energy. Resources. Very good. Thank you. So a lot of times when you're thinking about marketing and you're thinking about marketing yourself, you always think the best way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. You want to get right to the hiring manager. You want to get right to the person who makes the decision. You want to get right, and I'll tell you, you're going to meet people that are like this, make decisions really quickly. You probably know the types. I want that report tomorrow. It should have been on my desk 2 days ago. Or you might have people say, put it on my desk today. I'll try to get to it tomorrow or the day after. Or you might even have people in your classrooms that work like this on their group reports. 1 day, 2 weeks, a month later, you don't see them. They're ghosting you the whole time. And ultimately, they get to point B. So tell me, which is the best way to get from point A to point B? Maybe. What's the best way to get from point A to point B? It depends. Absolutely. A lot of things can impact a decision maker or a way we market. The consumer might have a different point of view, might come from a different culture. Something might be happening in the economy. There might be a war. There might be a gas shortage. There might be things like a rise in childcare. A lot of things can happen that might impact a decision maker. So the best way to get from point A to point B is it depends. So would you target somebody that makes a decision like this with a straight line the same way as a person that thinks like this or decides like this? Why not? Yeah, absolutely. People consume information differently. There's timing, there might be cultural issues, there might be other things on their mind, there might be other issues that take priority. So a lot of people will look at the same thing with a different set of eyes and may act differently. So it's very important that when you're marketing yourselves, you pay attention to all the things that might be happening with that decision maker or with that company or with their customers. So this is my journey. Don't want to go through this too much because I don't have a lot of time, but just wanted to let you know that it's okay if you don't get the perfect job immediately. I thought I was going to go work after going to Cal State Northridge, which we called Cal State Nowhere. I thought I was going to work at this company, McCann Erickson. I interviewed for that, and I thought I was the best candidate. Guess what? McCann said, no way. So I said, okay, I'm not going to go into advertising or marketing. I am going to go into HR. Now, who doesn't want to help people, hire people, give people jobs, give them raises? Awesome job. Hated it because I had to lay off people. I had a unionization movement. I had to deal with people that worked at the company for 36 years, and I had to lay them off. Oh, politics. Who doesn't want to get somebody elected? Help 2 people get elected. But then I realized I hate politics because I don't like to see the division in our country and the division in communities. Executive search. Awesome. Made a lot of money. I also made a lot of stupid decisions. And then I met somebody on an airplane and started a company which failed miserably. So the message here is it's okay if you don't get the perfect job when you graduate from Rutgers. Just learn as much as you can along the way. So guess what? Decided to start a company after my business failed. Wanted to go to an agency, and the agency said, oh, you're too old. Oh, you're too old, Bill. Would you like to have fresh college grads? So the offer was temp to perm. I take it. And then there's an opportunity. If you had 500,000 US dollars, how would you reach Asian Americans? And somebody said, hey, Bill, do you want to work on this? Just because I'm Asian doesn't mean I can market to Asian people. And they go, but Bill, you're from the Far East, right? And I said, yeah, I am from the Far East. Far eastern part of the state of Oregon. We're out on the Oregon-Idaho border. But I took on that responsibility. Lesson number 2, if you have an opportunity, take it. Take it if you're able to do it. Take those opportunities while they come along. Got it? Was working on the presentation with a day-and-a-half notice, slept at the office, and then realized after the executive assistant for the company runs after me at the airport, oh my God, Bill, I forgot the last 3 pages of the request for proposal. What is it? It's the strategy section. What? And I found out we were completely off strategy. So we said, oh, we'll just get to FedEx, which at the time was called Kinko's in St. Louis, and there's a snowstorm, the biggest snowstorm on record. So we decided, what do we do? Well, we had written all over these napkins and pieces of paper. And so we said, we're going to present with our napkins and pieces of paper. And we walked in, and the executive said, what's going on? And the executive assistant from this company goes, you've got to be kidding. You're going to present on napkins and pieces of paper? And I said, yeah, what's wrong with that? And the executive assistant said, this is embarrassing. And the executive VP said, go for it. So we started presenting, and we thought we did an awesome job. A few days later, the executive assistant tells me there's no way in H they're going to get our work. But then the executive vice president calls and said, congratulations, you got the job. And I said, what? And of course, I was ecstatic, running around all over the agency. And the president goes, what is the commotion? He said, we just won this very large client. And he goes, you got to be kidding. Call this man up right now and say you resign. How could we resign? We haven't even signed yet. He goes, we have a conflict in another country. Call him up now and tell him you can't work on the business. And I said, why did you say and encourage me to go after this business? Well, Mr. Imada, I didn't think you had a chance. I call up the company, and the company said, Bill, why don't you start your own company? Oh, no. I need to work, made some dumb decisions, have student loans. You know what that's like, right? I have to pay them off. He goes, how much are your student loans and your debt? About $80,000. And he said, it's really too bad. I think that you'd be really good if you started a company. I can't start a company. I won't start a company. I need to work. A few days later, I get a FedEx or UPS, I'm not sure which. I open it up, and there's an $80,000 check. And I called up the executive and said, what is the meaning of this check? I told you we cannot work on your business. And he said, Mr. Imada, you said you're $80,000 in debt. That debt's now repaid. When do you start? That's how IW Group got started. So anyways, keep your eye on the goal. And we don't have a lot of time. We're going to have to breeze through this. But remember I said I wanted to work for McCann? Well, after working for this company for a while, I always kept my eye on McCann. Well, our company gets bought out by True North, and True North gets bought out by Interpublic, and I find out that Interpublic owns McCann. So in the negotiation, I said, I want the president of McCann to be on my board. And they said, granted. So if you don't get what you want, keep trying is the message. Okay, fast, really fast. This is what an agency looks like, especially in the creative department. But in reality, this is what an agency is really like. It's chaos. If you love chaos like I do, this is why I run around like a crazy person, you're going to love this work. If you love problem solving and you're getting a really good education here in problem solving, you're going to love an agency. I love working in the agency because I get to work on multiple things. This is one of the things that the company that I talked to and one of my staff members, LJ, who runs our San Francisco office, said, 10% versus 90. You are only learning 10% of what you need at Rutgers. 90% of it you'll learn on the job. So if you're not doing internships, if you're not taking advantage of what Rutgers is doing around cross-disciplinary opportunities, you're missing out. So I encourage everyone to do an internship because that'll give you a 50% better chance of getting a job. Swim upstream. We work with Walmart. Not a company that I originally wanted to work for, but we ultimately decided to work for this company. One of the things that the founder said is swim upstream. Go against conventional wisdom. Quick. And let me just give you an example. Can I have 10 minutes? Okay. I was teaching a class at Golden Gate University, and there was a bunch of international students in the class, and it was on how to connect with American people. And they went, Bill, you're not American, so you don't quite understand. I said, yes, I am. I was born in Oregon. I said, where are you all studying? And they said, oh, we're studying American idioms. And I said, okay, tell me about an idiom that you are studying right now. And an Indian gentleman raised his hand and said, Mr. Imada, why do Americans say you should think outside of the box? Akshay, why do people say that? How many of you hear this? We need out-of-the-box thinking. Why do we say that?
To get a new perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the companies get a little upset with that. Oh, let's have out-of-the-box thinking. Well, why did they hire Rutgers graduates for? They're hiring you for a reason, because you bring a perspective to the company. And a lot of times when you're in an organization, you might get stuck with groupthink. You might get, if you're in the same class or in the same organization, people are going to say, we need new blood, we need fresh thinking, we need to think outside of the box. So I was explaining this to the South Asian gentleman. He said, Mr. Imada, where did this box come from? Did they buy it at Walmart? How did they use this box? Why did they use this box to begin with? And where does this box come from? And why do Americans believe that the best ideas are outside of the confines of their companies? Why don't they trust the people they hire? Why don't Americans think in the box first, then step out? So I want to challenge all of you to go against conventional wisdom. Think in the box first. Do what you need to do to improve your brand and lift it up, and then step out and share it with others. Next. Japanese student said, Mr. Imada, why do Americans say you shouldn't reinvent the wheel? Why do we say that, April? Let's not reinvent the wheel.
Well, so it makes it easier for us. You don't have to save time, resources.
Yeah, if somebody comes up with an amazing marketing plan and it sells and it works, you say, why do we have to change things? Why do you want to fix something that isn't broken? Yet another idiom. And I was explaining this to this Japanese student. Well, we say this because if we have a process in place, it works. If we have a supply chain and logistics program, it works. And we don't want to spend the money or the resources to change it. And this Japanese gentleman said, Mr. Imada, I moved to the United States for one reason, because America should be the land of innovation. If Americans can come up with a better wheel, what's stopping them? I said, okay. Now, all of you in this room, if you can come up with a better wheel, go for it. I say reinvent like it says among your 4 hours. We are in the business of reinventing. Level the playing field. A Pakistani guy said, Mr. Imada, why do Americans say we have to level the playing field? Well, we want to have an egalitarian society where everyone has an equal chance to succeed. He said, Mr. Imada, in Pakistan, none of the fields are level, but we still play soccer on them. We navigate an unlevel field, and why can't Americans do that? So if you can find a way to deal with an unlevel playing field, go for it, because at least in my lifetime, and probably in yours, things will never be equal. Okay, moving on. Elevator speeches, hate them. If anybody tells you to do an elevator speech, hiss, because this is what happens. Oh, my name is it Raquel? Rachel, my name is Rachel. I go to Rutgers University. I love business school, and I know a lot about supply chain, and I live in Mahwah, New Jersey. Oh, so tell me a little bit more about some of the things that you care about. Oh, I go to Rutgers University. I love marketing. I live in Mahwah. Tell me a little bit about things that are pain points for you. Oh, my name is Rachel. I live in Mahwah. So we keep repeating these things. And marketing, sometimes it's not a bad thing. But I will tell you, what do you do when you get to your floor? So moving forward, the companies that I work with said, it's great that you're learning presentation skills, but it's even better if you learn listening skills. And so instead of giving your elevator speech to an executive, why don't you say this instead? What do you think about the Rutgers Business School Summit? Are you enjoying it? And then the executive is going to say, of course, I love this and love this. So tell me more about your day. So they're giving you all the speaking points. And this happened with me in Bank of America. Sat with Liam McGee, the president of Bank of America, and I just said, tell me about your day. And he goes, oh my God, it was terrible. I missed my daughter's my soccer practice. I was stuck on the freeway. The I-287 or the 18. I was stuck on that for a long time. It was just miserable. And our fourth quarter earnings were terrible. Mr. McGee, I have an idea for you on how you can get around the 18 and the 285 to get to the Rutgers Business School. Let me just let you in on a secret. So you're making that connection without having to do your elevator speech, and they're giving you all the speaking points. Accounting and logistics management. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. But what's cool about Rutgers is you're learning this. Not a lot of marketing schools teach about supply chain and logistics. I don't remember anything about it except this. So when you're going to marketing events, remember this is goods and services, how you manage the logistics, and you already know what LIFO is. It's the last in, and it's typically the first out in terms of sales, right? So this is me at an event, and I want to get you all to change the way you do this. Say that there's an event that's happening right now, and you're being told about it, and you know that all of your favorite Rutgers students are going to be there. Well, me, I find out it's at 3:30. What time do I show up? 4 o'clock. I'm the last one in. And then I look for Stacy Schwartz and say, Professor Schwartz, yeah, Bill, I'm here. And as soon as Professor Schwartz turns her back, I'm the first one out. Have a little fun with this. Now I say FI-LO. What is that? First in, last out. So if you know the event starts at 3:30, show up at 3. You know why? All of your favorite executives are out there like this. You have better odds one-on-one than when 300 of your favorite Rutgers people show up 30 minutes later. So you want to make a good first impression And then you want to circle back to that person and be the last one to leave and say, you know what, Andrea, I loved your presentation this morning from Dentsu, and these are the things I learned. I just want you to know how much I appreciate being here. Good first impression, good last impression. Okay, solve problems, don't create them. When you give something, it is okay to ask for something in return. This is something that some of the corporate people I work with say all the time. The students will offer to do things, will jump in and volunteer in their internships. If you're doing extra work on an internship, it's okay to say you want something in return. Same with negotiating salaries. It's okay to say you want something in return. Don't be afraid to ask. Generative AI is your partner. It's a tool, not a toy. But you should learn as much as you can about, and there's tons of free access AI tools. Dolly, Midjourney are a few that I'm thinking of that you could look at, and there's a lot more. There's no reason why you can't be on top of this, but you should also know that AI has been used for a long time to review your resumes. When you do your resumes or you do your LinkedIn profiles, which I strongly recommend, add some personality. All the companies I work with said they want to see your personality shine. Now, one person sent me a resume, and they got a scissors and they carved out every corner and rounded it out. But then they cut the last corner off in an angle, and they sent it to our HR person. And our HR person said, Bill, what is this? And I said, I have no idea. Why is it all rounded on every corner? And they cut the angle. Get this person on the phone. What's up with this, Josh? Tell me more about your resume. He goes, Mr. Imada, I am a well-rounded person with an edge. I told my HR person, get this man in right now. But AI is constantly, well, you know, a lot of the big companies, they don't have time to review your resumes. So it's a good idea to look at the keywords in the job description and use those keywords not only in your cover letter if you're asked, but also in your resume, because people are looking for a 75% match or more. So keep that in mind when you're doing this, because AI is used to screen applicants, and you want to put your best foot forward on that. And I want to just say also, don't wait, create things. And when you see things like Rutgers putting 4 R's, if you have a 5th R or 6th R, add it and say, I want to say re-energize. I want to say reimagine. Think of all the different things that you could add to that and then add some texture to it. Every single employer monitors their social media engagement. When you start commenting on social media engagement from a company in a positive way, or if you have a suggestion, they will note that and they will notice it. So I want to encourage you to do that. And lastly, I just want to end with this. Think about your audience and do a little bit of research on your audience. I know we're running out of time, but we work with McDonald's. This is an old piece, but we did a lot of research on this. And Asian Americans, for some crazy reason, and this has changed, have code word for I love you. We don't necessarily say I love you to your kids and to your family, but we show it in other ways. So I don't want to perpetuate too many stereotypes, but the code word for us is did you eat yet? Because we'd rather show you love by making things for you. So here it is. And that's it.
Dude, yes. Perfect, bro. Absolutely. I'll definitely bring the kettle corn. Yeah, of course, of course. Can't wait to see you. I'll talk to you later. Love you, Pops.
That was your dad?
Yeah, he's just confirming some plans for dinner. My whole family's in town for the holiday, so just kind of making it a big deal.
That's cool. It just sounded like you were talking to a friend.
My dad is my friend. He's my best friend. Isn't your dad your best friend?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we just don't really communicate it that way. I think Asian people, we're not as open and casual when we talk about our emotions like you are.
So your parents don't say what they really feel?
No.
They don't say, I love you?
No.
When you told your dad you were visiting home, what did he say?
Are the tickets cheap? Don't come home unless they are cheap.
But what do you think he really meant?
You're not making enough money at this job right now. So you better save up if you want to have a good future.
See? That's nice.
Yeah, I guess.
What about when you were growing up?
What they said,
Not bad.
what they really meant,
I'm proud, but I cannot brag about you to Mrs. Chen unless you're number one. So practice harder for first place next time, please.
what they said,
Be home by 10 o'clock.
what they really meant.
I know you are not really going to your friend's house to study, and you are probably meeting up with a girl from the piano recital. So be home before I go out looking for you.
What they said,
You can do better.
what they really meant.
Actually, it's amazing that you even got an A minus, considering all the hours you play video games. But I want you to be successful. And education is the only way I know how to achieve that.
What they said,
Did you eat yet?
what they really meant.
I love you, but I don't want to say that. So I'm making sure you're well fed. That's how my parents said I love you to me, and it's less awkward.
That's really interesting. Why do you think they don't say what they feel?
I don't know, maybe they're just not really used to it. Maybe they didn't hear it much when they were growing up.
They can hear it now, right?
Zhenxiang, come help me with the grocery.
Hey, Ma.
The grocery store is so busy today, but I got everything to make your favorite dishes. Did you eat yet?
I love you too, Ma.
I love you.
Aww. Hi, Mrs. Wang.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
His name's Jake, Ma. The E's silent. I've been telling you this since middle school.
Sorry, Jack.
I just want to end really with these quotes. You learn something from every person you meet. And one thing I want to encourage you to do is after you're done today, thank every single person on LinkedIn that you met and make a really good impression for Rutgers. But I also want to just say, you will meet a lot of people. Pick up something from each and every person. Booker T. Washington was an American black patriot with the Tuskegee Institute. He once said, if you want to lift up yourself, lift up someone else. And that's what you're doing at Rutgers, I hope, is lifting not only your fellow students, but your professors and your campus community. Catherine Barchetti from Pittsburgh was trying to start a retail empire as an Italian-American woman in a male-dominated industry. She ultimately succeeded with the term, make a customer, not a sale. So you can sell yourselves all you want, but if you don't make that emotional, deep connection with the people you're reaching with, sometimes you can't get them to listen to you or to pick up what you're saying. Latinos or Latinx people, they say, donde comen cinco, comen seis. If you could feed 5 people at your table, you could feed 6. If you could feed 6 people at your dinner table, there's always room for a 7th. That should be the mentality that you have moving forward for your careers, and you should look for jobs, that every single idea you hear is worth listening to. And Ben Nighthorse Campbell, one of the first people who's indigenous to represent the state of Colorado, said there is but one factor for success. Never, ever give up. And if you look up a woman named Jordan Crowley with a Y, she applied to Disney 52 times and got the job. And lastly, you heard from Andrea Terrassa that we have the power to change the future through marketing. Change the future. Thank you. Break time.
Do we have any questions for Bill? Okay.
Questions?
Yeah.
It's break time. Go ahead.
Okay. So during lunch, you asked me a very interesting question of what was something that was not taught to me in school that I wish I knew more of. and I was thinking about it again. And I was thinking that all my professors, my mentors, everyone has taught me how to be successful. So I know what I need to do to be successful, to be overachieving, but nobody taught me how to like deal with my professional failures. And I'm actually taking twice as long to learn how to be successful again as to how to be successful. So my question is, how do I deal with my first professional failure?
First of all, fail fast. And that's not harder to do than possible. Surround yourself with a group of people that are going to be your informal board of directors, and keep asking for them feedback. And so if you do fail, ask and think about for a moment what the failure was, and get some feedback on how you can do it and pick yourself up, because a lot of times people spend a lot of time worrying about their failure, and that energy is wasted. So use that energy and convert it to the extent possible, so you turn into something positive. By the way, you're going to fail multiple times. And people are going to tell you it's okay to fail, but nobody tells you how to fail. So one way to start off the conversation is talk to all the mentors that you have and other people you're working with. Talk about what you did that failed. I want to learn from that. And what did you do to pick yourself up from that failure? And by the way, LJ, who's from my staff, if you want to call him, the very first week on the job, we were fired from a client because of a mistake he made. But I just asked him, did you learn something from the process? And he said, I'm a failure, I screwed up, you should fire me. Why should I fire you? And because I fucked up. And I said, did you learn something from the process? And he said, I did. That I need to think about these things first, come up with a plan, ask for people's opinions, and then if somebody does fail, I need to reach out to them and say, what did you do to be resilient, like one of the R's? What did I do to kind of reinvent myself? What did I do to feel like I can succeed next time? And so that's what he did. He's now 7 years with the agency and the vice president of our company. So surround yourself with people that are going to tell you the truth, and not with people that are going to say, oh my God, it's okay, you can come in 5th place. 6th place is just fine. Have people around you that are not only going to catch you when you fall, but also give you advice to make you a stronger person the next time. And every failure is going to make you a stronger person, provided that you learn how to convert negative energy into something positive.
Any other questions?
I didn't get to do that part, but that's okay.
Okay. All right. So let's give Bill another round of applause. That's excellent. Thank you, Bill.